Well, it's about 7:30, a bit later than I wanted it to be, but we're on our way down south. Go on then, in you go. Straight over. Right, me and Bert are ready. Let's go. Oh, I'm not going to film the journey because I'm driving, but I'll see you in Gosport. So we finally arrived after quite a long drive, but also sadly somebody came off their motorbike, and so but apparently they're not too bad here, which is good. So we're here in Gosport and just about ready to pick up some portholes, which is quite exciting. So it's a bit of a flying visit, but we're back home again, and we've brought back with us 4 portholes. I'm really pleased. They're absolutely beautiful, and they're quite similar to the types of portholes that was on our family boat years ago. The turn's slightly different, but yeah, they're about the same size and the same design. They're really beautiful. 1952 the boat was made with these portholes, so they're probably like late 40s, early 50s portholes. So they'll be obviously I've got the big portholes on the side, but they're going to be the interior doors and also the main door as well. I'm going to put, because I've got 4 of them, I'm going to put one in the on the main door, and it means I can open that for a little bit of extra ventilation and have something to peek through if I need to as well. But yeah, I'm really happy. People keep on saying, oh, you'll have to get them cleaned up, get them all polished up, but no, they're staying exactly as they are. Maybe a little wipe with a damp cloth, but all of that patina is staying. It's absolutely beautiful. I've even got the rings for them as well, which is really rare to get these with the portholes, but these are the rings that go on the outside, or yeah, the outside for us. But yeah, it's great. I've got these lovely rings as well. Very happy. So of course it's raining again. It's just doing nothing but raining. We're back in our autumn coat, and it's the middle of summer. It's just about August now, so yeah, apparently it's going to be raining all the way through August as well. But anyway, it's good for the herbs. So let's have a quick check-in and see how the herbs are doing. Well, I have to apologise that I somehow have lost loads of footage from this week. I haven't really lost anything important because it was just really me cycling to the DIY store and then trying to find some steel, which I couldn't find, so I had to order it online. So you're caught up now, so that was all. But yeah, so I don't really know what I've done there, but it's just completely vanished, and I've searched through the entire hard drive and I just can't find it. So anyway, never mind. It's not on camera, it didn't happen. Anyway. The thing that I was going to try and get from the DIY store was some steel, and they only sell 1 meter lengths, and so I needed longer lengths than that, and I needed the steel because the original front section of the floor was kind of in front of a bulkhead, and I think it was probably like a locker or something, like a sail locker or something like that, when the entire cargo hold was there. So it never had, it didn't have the kind of bearers, the kind of floor that this has, sort of here. So it never had those. It never had a floor on. Well, it did have a floor on, but it was just supported with pieces of wood, which isn't very good. So yeah, so I needed some steels to make a subfloor so that I can get the ply floor down. So I have ordered them from the Metal Superstore, which sounds really like heavy metal club or something, but it's a superstore that sells metal. And I've got them to cut them to roughly the right length as well, which is good because that's going to save me a lot of time, and it also saved me money. So yeah, so I've got this now, this kind of apparatus, and just ignore all of the rust converter that I've put in here. As I said, I've had a lot of water in here through the winter from the condensation from above, but we're going to give this another coat anyway. So this is the new framework. It's just put in place at the moment. It needs to be either bolted or welded together. Depends on whether the welder is going to come next week. So you can see there are some outside pieces, and this piece along the top is rested from here to here, so it's got support all the way down. And then these pieces are resting on that cross piece plus that other angle profile here, and this one is just resting on here, and then this one is going to go across. Now you might notice there's a huge big gap in the middle, but actually that's because my bed is going to go here, the double bed is going to go here, and the double bed will be kind of fitted in around here, so it'll all be supported under these pieces of metal. But I'm going to leave a huge big gap here. I'm going to put an inspection hatch in, but also a huge big gap so I can lift up the entire thing, so I can see underneath here to make sure that everything's okay. So yeah, there's really not going to be any load bearing on here at all, apart from some, my kind of junk underneath. So that'll be absolutely fine. So I think I probably told you that that the ply floors that I'm putting down, what I could do is I could put the entire ply floor down, then I could build the walls on top of that. But the problem with that is that if I have a problem with the floor and I need to take it up, I'll have to start cutting it up or destroying the walls or something, and that's just definitely not going to work. I'm not going to be happy with that. So instead, I'm going to put some ply flooring down just where the wall is going to be. So there's a kind of narrow support, if you like. And then in the big gap next to it, that's where a big board is going to be. So that board will be screwed down as well. But it'll mean that I can take up most of the floor without disturbing the walls. That's still going to be a little bit disruptive because I'm going to have to pull up the flooring that I put down. So the plan is to have a subfloor in ply, 18mm ply. And then I'm going to put some, just a little bit of insulation down, and then I'm going to put some sort of engineered floor on the top, some sort of flooring on the top. And it would mean that I'd have to take that up, but it's not the end of the world because I can't get it up without too much trauma. But what I'm also going to do in the actual finished floor, I'm going to have plenty of hatches, inspection hatches, so I can just look in, make sure that everything's okay in the bilges, make sure there's no water, make sure there's nothing living down there or anything like that. So yeah, and if I need to get to it, I can do. So partly that's because it's kind of good. It's good practice, but also you never know. It's good to have access to the hull, and if if I hit anything and there's a little bit of a leak, then you need to plug it, but you need to be able to find it first. So so that's probably a worrying thing to say, but I'm not planning on hitting anything. But anyway, maintenance, that kind of thing, it's good to do. So yeah, so I bought all the steels for that. I'm going to start to construct that next week. Hopefully, as I said, there's a guy that's going to be on the site who's a welder. If he doesn't turn up, then I'm going to bolt them together. I've got some M10 bolts, nuts and bolts, so I can bolt it all together. I'm not going to weld it to the hull anyway because I don't want the heat to be going through the hull and damaging the paint on the outside. So even if it's welded, I'm going to get it welded into one component, and then I'm going to bolt that into the boat. But firstly, I'm going to finish off the hatch trim, the hatch lining. So that I've bought the bolts as well from the DIY store. I've got coach screws to screw into the battens that are already there. I've got some kind of grab adhesive, no one else kind of stuff that I can stick the hatch up into its aperture. And I've got that. I'm not going to use too much of it because I might want to take the lining out at some point. I don't want to have to pull everything apart and destroy everything. So just enough just to kind of hold it in place. But the thing is, I need to do that. When I need to do that, I need to clamp it into place, or at least I want to use the clamps to clamp it into place, which means the hatch needs to be open, which I can't do at the moment because it is torrential rain constantly. It just won't stop raining. I shouldn't really complain because I don't deal with the heat very well, but the rain is constant. It's torrential. So I'm expecting a hosepipe ban in a couple of weeks anyway. You know what they're like. At least I hope Thames Water's catching some of this and putting it in a reservoir somewhere anyway. So I haven't been able to do the hatch lining this week, but also most of the week is spent faffing around trying to find bits. But I've done a bunch of shopping now. I've got those amazing portholes for the internal doors. I've got my steel for the subfloor. And when I get that in fact, before I get that in, probably I'm going to do another measure up for all of the ply that I need, and I'm going to get that ordered and I'm going to get that delivered. I was still kind of humming and hawing whether I should order half the ply because, you know, storing the rest of it. But I think what I probably should do is I probably should just measure the entire boat and order all of the ply that I need. It's going to be a bit of a nightmare and I'll have to shuffle it around a little bit, but that's better than not having it. And prices are continually increasing. I know it's more than it was a couple of years ago. I probably should have bought it all and put it in storage, if only I had storage. Anyway, I think I'm rambling now, so I probably think that's about as much as I need to tell you. So again, sorry for losing a bit of footage, but I don't think it spoils anything. I don't think it kind of changes anything. And next week we're going to continue with the hatch lining. We're going to try and get this subframe built. Going to try and get measured up for ply and try and get that ordered. So there's lots of try. I just have to turn that into do or will. One of those two things. Anyway, thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you next week.